broadcasting in high def, 1080p. I guess
Oh,
before we were 720, but now we're at
technology. Look at us
1080.
go.
Or is it 740? No, I think 7.
Look at us go.
Is anybody else tired?
Good morning, friends.
I could use a labor-free Labor Day.
I think I'm going to have a labor-free Labor Day.
Lucky.
I was going to work on Monday, and I think I'm not going to
I'm
now.
sure Miss Debbie has plans on trying to kill me in the backyard somehow this weekend.
Well,
What she do? That's what she do. I heard that.
you heard that. Give some people a minute to
A hot
hop
minute.
on.
Yeah, because we have a big reveal, and we're only doing
Yeah.
it on TV here.
We're not going to do it on the radio.
We're making them listen in. Now, of course, they're going to get wise to it all next week when we're promoting.
Well,
it.
we'll promote it starting Monday. Good morning, Jackie. I'm getting
Jackie.
ready to dig out my
Jackie.
Cowboys blanket.
You know who shows up next week here in the studios?
No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
I've been waiting all summer and spring.
I think you should trade him out for a Harrison Butker.
Well,
I really think you need to get a Harrison Butker.
I'm not opposed to, kind of letting them share the space.
He's much
back
better
there.
looking, I think. I don't know.
I have to trust a woman's opinion on that. But yeah.
I'm just not a fan of
St. Patrick Mahomes. Merle knows.
Don't encourage
Merle
it.
knows.
Don't encourage it.
That's the name of my fantasy football team, by the way. Oh, and we draft tomorrow.
You're busy.
I am busy. Oh,
I don't do anything tomorrow.
I have no clue.
You better do some research before your draft, or your fantasy team's gonna stink.
I've already printed off a cheat sheet, but there's so many new names of guys now. It used to be you knew the 25, 35 guys that were just absolutely going to be must-haves, and I don't know these. I don't know the players anymore hardly.
You're right, Jackie. I should be careful, but for everyone after Patrick, for everyone chief he brings in here, I get to bring in a cowboy.
No, that's not. This doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think it makes
sense. I mean, if we were broadcasting from Texas, yeah, that would make sense.
We have friends in Texas that listen.
But they're from where?
They live in Texas that listen.
Yeah. But when your studio
we also have
in
friends,
Missouri.
We also have friends in
Morning, Greg.
Florida that listen.
Yeah. And
but Florida doesn't have a football team.
They do. They've got a couple. They got the Miami Dolphins and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Like I said, Florida doesn't have a football team.
Well, the Buccaneers were one of the few that have put a loss on the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Debbie, are you back in town? Are you going to get to go down to the city this weekend? Finally, she's been missing Silver Dollar City picnic.
It's been fun down there.
Oh.
I've gotten to go down there a few days, and it's yesterday, man, oh man, I got to do something really cool yesterday, and that was hop on the Singing News TV truck. Scott Godsey and Nick and Jake was running audio. All that goes into, guys, let me just tell you, we just watch TV and we have no clue or relatively little clue of the crew it takes to make it happen. Oh, amazing. 4 live cameramen, 3 guys in the tech truck, 2 still cameras, and they could get much more involved. I mean, that's for in their world a pretty basic setup. Yeah. But it's still a marvel watching Scott work the board and making that happen. It's pretty cool.
Merle, if we brought Joe Montana in here, we'd have to put him in a 49ers jersey.
No, he was also a Chief.
I know,
but I'm going to surrender this.
Okay.
He really is known as the Niners guy. Yeah, I get that.
I know enough to admit I know nothing about football. Tomorrow's going to be a great day on the park because you know who's going to be there. It's when you'll need your fan.
Oh. If you haven't picked up on it, Paula's a big Scotty Inman fan. And she even likes that he sings.
Dave Taylor. I think Ed's on here. You probably shouldn't.
Like he doesn't know.
I don't think he does. He doesn't even know who Scotty Inman is, but he's probably Googling him now. How tall is he? Would you say he's 6'4"?
Oh, he's at least 6'4", maybe 6'5". He's got his big boy.
with those cowboy boots on,
You and cowboy stuff.
even taller.
You and cowboy stuff. So
Yeah,
let's
Scotty's
tease.
down there tomorrow.
Let's tease the big reveal about next Friday's guest coming out of this.
Oh, we got to do radio.
Yeah, there's that radio.
Let's do
part of
radio. This is a fun part of our job.
Is it? Take it away.
That's the Taylors with He Is Good to Me, Dave and Paula. KWFC on our Friday live. If you're not there, then you're not going to find out who's going to be here next week.
Yeah, you're totally square if you're not there.
Today's guest, John Stroup, Rachel Baird with Freeway Ministries. They'll be with us here in just a few minutes. If you've got any questions for John or Rachel, because Rachel's going to give you the scoop. If you've got any questions, you can.
If you want to know what John's really like to work with, here's your chance. Here's your chance.
That's why we had Rachel on here.
And they're logging in. They're ready.
They're getting ready to go with us. So join us on Friday live on where are we at? We're on Facebook or
YouTube.
Good morning,
That is
friends.
funny. That is funny. Let's get them entered into the room. But should we do the reveal first?
Next week we get to.
Let's do that, and then we'll bring. So John and Rachel, hang in there for 1 second here. Next week we have a special. What's that?
I was just telling them 1 second.
Oh, just 1 second. We have a very special opportunity to be a part of Tate Emmons' Christmas CD release, debuting.
It'll be fun
right here on KWFC. They wanted KWFC to be the first to do this. It was pretty exciting. So they're coming. They're going to be in studio. Probably going to make a trip over to the park too while they're out there. Probably. Yeah. So that's a big deal.
It'll be
reveal.
Christmas CD. I wonder if he sings the Happy Birthday Jesus on his Christmas song.
I do not know. But we have welcomed into the studio here.
I'm gonna move everybody around because I have the power.
I can't hear you.
Hey, Cass, can you hear us okay?
I can hear you.
John, can you catch us there? I don't know, John. We can hear you. Can you hear us okay, John?
I hear you fine. Thank you.
You're coming long distance. Used to be we had to dial 1 for this to happen.
Yeah. No, I'm an hour ahead of you right now.
Well, thank you for getting up. I heard you spent yesterday in jail.
I did. Yes.
Did you spend yesterday in jail? John?
I got to go in and come out on the same day.
Does that happen very often?
To me, it does.
Now it does for you.
Guys, thank you for joining us. For those that are watching along, and we'll get to a live break here in a little bit. This is John Stroup, International Director. What's the official title these days?
I just say Executive Director.
Okay.
Whatever you, John.
Rachel, what do you call him?
Boss.
That was a quick answer.
What is Rachel's title? She's the Wrangler. She's the John Wrangler. She's the one in charge of trying to keep him corralled.
She's the processor. She helps me process everything. So,
and man, oh man, you got a good helper there for sure. Somebody's got to do that, and you're kind of tough to handle sometimes, John.
I'm easy to get along with, Dave.
Are you?
Yes, I just go really fast sometimes, and I have to slow down. And
I see Rachel biting her lip just a little bit. John, where are you coming to us from this morning?
I'm in the sunny state of Florida. I'm in Orlando.
And you're there for purposes, not just vacay, although I wouldn't blame you one bit if you did go vacay there, but you're there for business. What's happening?
We're doing Save Our City Orlando here in Orlando Baptist Church at Freeway Orlando and Freeway Sanford. We had about 300 there last night. This is their first one ever. So it was very successful. We had 30 vendors, and it was just amazing. Josh and Trey and the team here, the whole Orlando team. There's a bunch of people, but they're doing a really good work. So
they're killing it.
Go ahead, Rach.
I just said they're killing it.
You just blew through a break.
No, I knew.
Oh, okay.
That's okay. That's all right.
That's what he says.
That one was okay.
Telling on him.
Since we've got a minute,
but now everybody on TV
tell
knows.
us about how Freeway Orlando got started and who's running Freeway Orlando.
So really fast as I can say it. We've been adding freeways for a long time, and now the need is great. We need to multiply, and so we created a way to multiply through an internship program called the Timothy Project. So we sent 2 of our ex guys that came through our program there, and they are missionaries from us. We support them monthly. Josh Zuniga and Trey Odom, both former incarcerated, former drug addicts, who are now Bible college graduates that came to our program. They are there. They're 30 minutes apart, serving in Seminole County and Orange County, Florida.
Wow. People, to understand, this move that's changing the world was birthed right here in Springfield, Missouri. How long ago, John?
It will be 13 years in November. We became a nonprofit in 2012. We started November 2011.
Wow.
So,
And how many communities now is Freeway represented in?
I always get it wrong because I don't have anything in front of me, but I think it's 10 locations today. We have 16 homes. We're in 5
Rachel, do you have information to help on that?
No, he's probably correct.
Probably.
I'm going off the cuff. I'm shooting from the hip. So
that's what we love. That's what we want.
And it's not just USA. You travel different places in the world for this.
Yeah, we have a South Africa. We have Cape Town there on the southern tip of Africa now.
We've got a couple minutes here. Tell us the South Africa story when you found yourself in the office of one of the most dangerous people on planet Earth.
Yeah.
Or can we say that? Or can we tell the story?
Well, I can tell it. So I preach revival there is how it all started. The pastor at this church in Lakeview Baptist Church in Cape Town was watching us on YouTube, and someone flew him over here. We met. He said, I want you to come and preach. I have to raise the money to go, though. They can't pay me. So it's a little tricky to get there. But anyways, so we've gone every year, almost every year since 2016, 15. And so he takes me to this gang leader's house. He says his name is Roland the Mongrel. He's the leader of the Mongrel gang. There's 1,000 of them. And he's one of the most feared men there. And he said, I don't know why he did this, but it wasn't very smart. But I gave all my stuff to one of our teammates that were on the mission trip. And I said, I can't take this with me. And we go in there, and the pastor sits me down on a couch, and this guy's speaking this prison slang that only the prisoners know. It's called Sabella, and it's a language the South African prisoners created. And so he's speaking Sabella to this other guy, and they're bagging meth up in the kitchen. And he sits me down on the couch, and he's got a hammer in his hand, and he's explaining all these things to me, about how everybody's tried to kill him, and every week somebody tries to kill him. He can't go outside. And he's got security all around his little ghetto house he lives in. And he says, here's the last time they tried to shoot me. And he reaches behind me and he pulls the curtains back where I'm sitting and shows me all the bullet holes where I'm sitting and in the window. And I look at the pastor like, you're setting me up to die today, but anyways, I got to share the gospel with, his name was Roland. And I got to share the gospel with Roland. And he let me pray with him. And then he actually walked outside with us and walked us to our car. First time he'd been outside in a long time. And Gerald said God led him never to go back there again after that day. But it was an experience, and who knows? I mean, if that guy could give his life to Jesus, what a testimony it would be.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and kudos to you for having great faith and trust. God would take care of you in that circumstance that very few people probably would even consider doing.
I was scared.
I was going to say, how many times, my initial thought was, well, John's probably not been scared very often in his life, but I know a little bit of your testimony that you've probably been in some scary times a little bit.
It's scary. It's always scary walking with God. There are 365 fear nots in the Bible.
One for every day.
Yep.
That's great. Rachel, tell us a little bit about your involvement here with Freeway and what you do. We got a couple minutes. We're going to do a live break.
Okay. So I came into the picture as a volunteer actually at a Save Our City. And so kind of started, that was my first experience with Freeway. And So honestly, I was working in putting the offices together, and I looked at John's office and I said to my husband, I said, he needs an assistant. He needs some help. And so I started volunteering, and then eventually John asked me to come on board and serve. And so we've just been, it's crazy. Of course, Dave, you knew my dad,
Oh yeah.
Bill Minch, and my mom actually says that being raised by Bill Minch was preparing me for working for John Stroup. Their minds work the same. They're big visionaries. And so you got to keep up, we never know one day to the next. We were kind of joking the other day. He'll say, "Hey, you got a second? Can you come in and talk?" And I always say, "Do I need to bring my notebook? If I got to bring my notebook, that means we're about to do something." And
That's funny.
I like it when I get the phone calls from John. I think I've gotten 2 in my whole life where he says, "Hey sis, I've got an idea." And Rachel, you deal with that pretty much on the daily, don't you?
Yeah, I do, but it's exciting. You don't work at Freeway if you want to be bored.
No.
Right. And how long did it,
about the time we get comfortable, he says, "Hey, I have a great idea. Let's."
how long did it take you to convince John he needed help?
I'm sorry?
How long did it take you to convince John he needed help?
No time at all. He knew.
Okay.
He knew.
He's
That
ready.
is one thing I have to say about John, which I think is different than, of course, I've been in ministry my whole life, but
Yeah.
different than a lot of specifically men or pastors in leadership, is that he knows that he can't do it all. He knows that he doesn't know how to do it all, but he wants to bring people around him who can
And
help.
some leaders have a hard time with that. So kudos, John. Kudos for knowing that. All right, so resetting for the room, because we've had a lot of people join us since the conversation started. We got a live break here in about 20 seconds. John Stroup is the executive director for Freeway Ministries. 13 years. We're going to rehearse this here in just a little bit, but for people that are just joining us, that's who you're seeing on your screen. A ministry that has a big event coming up here next week. It's a 3-day revival. So let's go live. That is the Perrys, and I know it was the blood on the Sound of Home, KWFC. We've been having a conversation you've been missing out on if you haven't been logged in, watching on YouTube or on Facebook, our Friday Live conversation with Freeway Ministries. Their revival, Save Our City, starts this coming Thursday at Crossway Baptist Church is where the event happens. Now, you guys have moved that around a little bit, but I want to introduce the executive director, John Stroup, his able assistant. What do we call the hammer? No, what was her title? Rachel Baird.
Yeah, the process. She's the processor. I'm the vision.
Processor.
Yeah,
that sounds like a movie title, honestly. Rachel,
you can have a movie about her life.
We could do that, guys. Welcome to KWFC. We're very excited to have you on the air with us. And of course, everybody wants the full story. Log into our Friday Live on Facebook or on YouTube. John, 13 years ago. Actually, the ministry planted in your heart before that, but 13 years ago, a ministry birthed right here in our hometown, Springfield, in your heart. From your experience, tell us how Freeway got started, and then we can kind of get caught up where you're at.
So for me, we all have a Freeway story, but for my Freeway story is, when I got saved in prison, and I realized that the Bible says I'm a poster child for Christianity. People that come from my background, drugs, addiction, and crime, we say generational because many times it's all the way down from great grandpa. I thought, well, how come no one ever told my family this? How come there was nobody? There was not a missionary to reach my family. And then I began to understand the Word of God and got further into the gospel. And I learned that there is such thing as a people group. And I see people who struggle with crime, addiction, and poverty as a people group, and we're the missionaries. And so, I was preaching at another church at a recovery ministry, learned a lot, but had to leave on good terms. We just didn't agree on some things. And Rick Lechner took me and Mike A from Mike's Bible study. He had a Bible study on Thursday night where I met them two. Mike was going with me to this other place. And we both left at the same time. And he took me to Brother Eddie Bumpers and said, we're wanting to start a recovery ministry at our church. I met Brother Eddie. We cast a vision for him. Said, we want to reach this people group that's being missed in our city. And we want to feed them, bust them in, share the gospel with them, and then we want to plug them into the local church. He said there's a building in the back of the church you can use. If you ever outgrow it, we'll get you another one. It'll hold about 50 people. And we outgrew it our first night. And so today we have, I think, 11 partnered outreaches, 5 states. We have 16 homes for men and women to live in that are coming from incarceration and off the street from this background. And we're a nonprofit. So that's basically the short story.
How many homes, and this is rhetorical because you and I have had kind of a conversation. We were driving down a residential area, and I just asked you, so how many homes do you think are wrestling with, whether directly or a near family or friend, wrestling with the opioid problem that is just rife in our country? It's a blight to our nation. And you speculate about every other house.
Oh, yeah. There's, if you're an alcoholic or a self-aholic, you still have a heart problem. And, addiction is the ultimate form of selfishness. It's not, drugs are never anyone's problem. Drugs are what you see. There's a heart issue. And we're trying to fill that void with things that please our flesh, and it's everywhere. It's so accessible. And so people are addicted to all kinds of stuff. It may not be opiates. It may be marijuana. It may be alcohol. It may be pornography, but everybody that knows someone who's strung out on something.
More of a conversation with John Stroup. Rachel Baird in the house also. We're going to be on our Friday Live, both on YouTube and Facebook. Join us there for the full conversation, but another break. We'll come back, get the 411 on all that's going to be happening next week during the Save Our City Freeway Ministries revival right here in Springfield. All right, you guys. We have a burning question, John, that Paul has been wanting. I mean, we hit the hard-hitting questions. This is not, we're not no fake news outfit. We get the hard stuff here. KWFC.
This is going to be a good one.
They're working you up.
Fire away, Paula.
Paula's holding back the smile.
No, I never hold back a smile. We go back and we've watched videos to prepare for this interview because, I'm always prepared. Let's talk about the hot sauce challenge, John. How did this get started, and who do you deem worthy of the hot sauce challenge?
Why do you want to try it?
Nope.
Hey, no,
I am not volunteering.
That would be another great Friday Live.
Dave will volunteer for you, but not me. No. I know I will lose.
This was in my listen. I think we always need to be maturing and growing in the Lord, and I have stopped doing that. It was just a macho thing, I think, for the guys. It was the hot sauce, the hot chip, and then I seen a deal on the news where someone died. And I told the guys, I said, we're not going to do any hot challenges anymore because I'm not. It's fun to watch these macho guys come from prison with their chest poked out, thinking they're tough.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear because that's what I was pretty sure you were doing. It's a humbling.
Yeah, but then I saw people that got hurt. And it's totally their own accord. Like they ask for it. They're like, we want to try the hot sauce, But I said, if you want to do that on your own, that's fine. But we're not doing it anymore here for T-shirts or anything.
But what a fun icebreaker and one of those kind of fun. I mean, the spirit of it was to have some fun.
Yeah.
Right.
And show the power of the pepper.
Yeah.
Well,
it's hilarious. It's hilarious.
Did you ever participate?
Did Rachel ever do
it? No.
Yeah, she was smarter than that.
No. So, and here's the thing for years, if John or Casey comes in and says, try this. No.
You know better.
I'm probably not going to try anything that one of them say, no, it's not hot. It's probably hot. I'm not trying it.
All right. So Rachel, tell us a day in the life. What is a day in the life of Rachel like at Freeway Ministries?
Wow. So it's never what you expect. So I like to make lists. And so I'll start my day usually with my binder and with all of my to-dos in it. And I walk in the door and it instantly changes.
Right.
So you never know. You never know what we're going to end up with. So Tuesdays, now Tuesdays are Monday. And so Tuesday we have a shower trailer where we are able to minister and give showers to people in our community. We serve about 40 people every week.
Wow.
And So inevitably there's something going on over there. There's a buzz. They can't find the bread, or, got to dig something out of the freezer or something like that. And so that's typically on a Tuesday where we're pretty busy with that, or there's people who are coming in who need help, or who are mad or angry. And, so of course I would be angry too if I was homeless. And
I was going to say, in the people group that you're serving, there's got to be a lot of anger, angst.
Mhm.
I mean, about everybody walks in's got problems.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't like it if I don't get my sweet tea in the morning. I can't imagine what it would be like to not have a restroom to go to in the morning. So I would probably be pretty grumpy as well. It's kind of interesting though, because our population of people, we tend to see the same people coming through every week. And because homelessness it's a chronic problem. And so they come in a lot. It's the same people. And but they know, it's almost like I'm the principal. When there's trouble, somebody go get Rachel, and I come out and things kind of lower a little, because I guess I'm scary.
You're the processor. I heard you're the processor.
So, but we never know.
Not as scary as John.
But we never know what kind of interruptions we're going to get. Sometimes, what seems frustrating because you don't get anything done when you're sitting there at the end of the night and you look back at the people's lives that you got to touch, or the people that you got to engage with pretty consistently, or even just our people who come in and sometimes they just need to be hugged and loved. Yeah. They just need to know someone cares about them.
You're ground zero of some of the toughest needs of humanity. I mean, they're coming to you because they need some serious help. And I know you probably can't help everybody in the ways that they want or sometimes even need. I mean, you can only do so much, but God bless you in the work that Freeway is doing. And we're going to do a live break here, and we're going to do the 411. Paula, you want to guide this next segment with them? And
yeah, we're going to talk about the vision for the first Save Our City revival, John, that you had, and how it's grown. And then, Rachel, I want you to step in and talk about how it's grown and what the processes are now compared to the very first one.
Here we go. It's Greater Vision, and your healing is on the way. We've been having a great conversation off and on air with John Stroup of Freeway Ministries. Rachel Baird is also in, and we've learned a little bit about Rachel. She's a major cog in this wheel. I mean, this gearing, Rachel, she's the processor.
I think she came along at just the right time. The interesting fact about Rachel, when I first met Rachel, when she moved to Springfield, and she was telling me about, the churches she's attended, and her husband is career military. So I think that's prepared her a lot to be part of Freeway Ministries. And I just started praying for her to meet John and to catch a vision for Freeway. And I don't think I ever told you that. And I even mentioned to her, have you ever attended a Freeway Saturday night? Because I could just tell by her heart and her organizational skills that it would be a great fit for her.
Raised in a household of ministry leaders.
Yes.
From grandpa down. And so what a joy to have you guys on the air with us.
We've got you guys with us this morning because we're talking about Save Our City Revival that starts Thursday night. Crossway Baptist Church is the host this year. You guys move this around. John, what prompted, because this didn't kick off Freeway. This started several years in. What was your vision? What prompted this first Save Our City Revival?
So I had a chief of police call me from the town of Dixon, Missouri, and there was a lot of issues going on with law enforcement, and he was like walking tall. He came in there with his stick, took over. His name was Gary Don Brinkle, and I can say that now because he's no longer with us. I used to not really say where he was at, but he's gone now, so he wouldn't care. And he said, "John, help me save my city," and that's where the Save Our City came from. That conversation, God just seared it in my heart. For a long time, the church world and the recovery world have been separate. You got the church over here, and you got the recovery world over here. And those in recovery, their recovery group is their church. In the church world, good Christian people love people in recovery, but they don't know what to do or how to help them. It's like they're over there, that's them, this is us, we don't understand them, we're going to stay over here. And so my vision was to have a revival to where we invited the recovery world to come and put booths up and resources up and let the church see who's in the community. Let the church see the resources. Let the church see all these people that are working in the trenches, helping those in recovery, and introduce the church to these recovery folks, and encourage them to meet them and pray for them and get to know them. And then and the idea is, you hear about the negative impact of a drug addict or a criminal on our foster system, our division of family services, our probation and parole, state agencies, prisons. We understand the issues, right? But what about the radically changed ex-drug addict? What do they do to the community? How good are they for the community? What kind of impact are they making in the community? And so that was my heart, is to show people, show the church, look what God can do through how valuable one radically changed ex-drug addict is. And so we have these testimonies come of these people who used to be the person stealing your lawnmower when you went to sleep, used to be the person who's selling drugs next door to your house, but now they're evangelizing drug dealers, they're evangelizing drug addicts, and they're making an impact in our community that's astronomical. And so I wanted the church to see the value in one of them, and then for the recovery world to see how important it is to be plugged into the church.
One of my favorite stories on a Save Our City Past was the testimony. Forgive me, I don't remember the name, but they were one time involved in a high-speed chase through the city streets of Springfield, and now they're driving bus for Freeway Ministries. A whole different mode of getting through the city streets. They were the subject of a high-speed chase, and now they're in ministry helping people drive them to get to Freeway. It's just an amazing thing that's going on. And to your credit, John, and to the ministry, when local law enforcement, they call you, and it's not just that one township or city. How many county sheriffs have your number on their speed dial? Well,
I'm personal friends with Sheriff Arnott and Sheriff Cole from Webster County and Greene County. We're very good friends. We're in the same business. We want to help our communities, and they realize that we're an alternative to prison for 7 counties in the state of Missouri. And we do have law enforcement bring people in handcuffs to our office and unhandcuff them and say, I'm going to give you one chance. I could take you to jail right now, but you need to come here and get involved. I got a guy trying to get his kids back, and he went to jail for shooting a Hells Angels clubhouse guy, shot him, and made peace with the Hells Angels. And this is a true story. And he started coming to Freeway, and he's got his life together. He's an ex-heroin addict. I won't say his name. But he come to me and he said, the judge told me in order to get my kids back, I need to come here and be around you. So what do I need to do? I told him I come on Saturday. He told me it's not enough. Go see what John. So now he's coming on Thursday nights. Now he's coming to church on Sundays. Pastor Sonny Simpson in Crossway is discipling this man. And the judge sent it to us. And so it's just exciting. Listen, I want you to know this, that the gospel is still the same. It's still has the same power. The Bible says the gospel has the power of salvation to all who believe. And it's still the same gospel with the same power to transform people.
John, incredible ministry. For those just listening in and those just watching in, John Stroup and Rachel Baird with Freeway Ministries, big Save Our City revival. When we come back on our next break, guys, like to walk through those 3 days. If you paint the picture of what to expect and people want. And by the way, it's for everybody. It's not if you're an addict. It's not if you're related to an addict or just a friend of an addict. It's everybody in this community is invited to this Save Our City revival. Next week, we'll get you caught up on all that's going to happen here in our next break. Wow, you guys, that's
good stuff.
It's just powerful. I hadn't heard that other story.
How many years? So what year of Save Our City is this?
I think we started in 2017.
This will be our 8th year.
Eighth year.
Eighth revival.
So Rachel, for you, how is it? It's grown, obviously, but what other things have changed from the first year at the fairgrounds to now?
So I wasn't here our first year. I came into the scene the next year when we were at BBC, and gosh, the things that have changed. I think, of course, we've changed the way it looks. COVID was a big game changer for us as far as where we were going to be. During the year of COVID, there was no one that we could meet and gather in, and so that was a little different. And so it kind of made us stop and reevaluate how we did it. And so that was the year that High Street opened its doors. And so then we, really the goal of Freeway, other than our mission, which is to reach the lost, one broken life at a time, reaching those hard to reach people. But we also want to bridge the gap between the recovery community, the homeless and recovery community, and the local church. That's, something I never understood as a lifelong ministry, going to church girl. You see that person on the side of the road and your heartstrings they're tugged. I mean, you're like, man, I want to help these people, but how? And then on top of that, there's the fear involved, because we know it would not be safe for me as a woman to just pull over and say, hey, how can I help you? And so as the church, how can we be the church to this community of people if we don't know them? And so Save Our City really, it does allow us to bring those two communities together so that we can teach the local church how to love on that community. But it also teaches that community how to trust the church. How many of us have been burned by a church? I mean, my goodness. And so I guess I didn't really answer your question. How has it changed? It's grown. I think with anything, it almost feels easy this year, which is a little scary, because I feel like every year we learn how to do it different. We learn how to do it better. And so it's a little scary because it feels easy this year. Easier, I shouldn't say it's easy, but it feels easier. And so I just think every year with processes, which of course is my favorite thing, we learn how to do it better and more efficiently, where it's the same message, it's the same gospel. We have great worship team that comes in. We're having We Are Called, which is a great little, it's a family-based group that's going to come in and lead worship. They're just outstanding. And above that, their hearts are just, they're just beautiful people. And so they're going to come in and they're going to lead worship for us. And then of course, John's going to challenge us with his, the sermons that God's laid on his heart. And let me tell you, since we're talking about process, one of the most frustrating things for me in my job is as I'm preparing his slides for his sermons, is as I'm reading through them, and it's like going to church, reading those sermons and getting convicted. And sometimes I get frustrated with him. I'm like, you didn't even have to that. That wasn't very nice. So we're just, I can't say enough. We're just really looking forward to Save Our City this year. Crossway.
In this next break, we got about 40 seconds or so. Let's walk through the 3 days, what to expect walking through the door. Let's make sure we get that big invite. This is for everybody. This isn't just for people wrestling with addiction or related to it, but this is a church-wide effort and initiative that the church has got to be plugged into. Because sometimes, wasn't it? It was kind of tough working in with Crossway. There's people that don't look like me sitting next to me in church. So there's that barrier that you got to kind of get people over. And they just need to. And then I'd like another story. Would one of you be prepared to tell a great victory story here in this next break too? Would you be ready for that? Always just so good to have you guys in here, and looking forward to what's going to happen next week. It's such a big deal, and we applaud you and we cheer you on, and anything we can do to help, we're happy to do this. Let's go live. Take it in, Paula.
It's the Line Trio with Turn on the Light. Dave and Paula with you this morning on KWFC with John Stroup and Rachel Baird of Freeway Ministries joining us on our Friday Live. You can find it on Facebook. You can find it on YouTube. And we're right here live with you this morning. Thank you guys for being with us.
Thank you.
They're smiling at you.
They are.
Thursday night, it's the big night. Crossway Baptist Church is the site for this year's Save Our City revival. What can we expect when we walk through the door?
Rachel, you take that one.
So when you walk in the door, doors are going to open at 6 p.m. and we are going to have 30 different organizations, businesses, ministries throughout the community that are going to be there ready to explain what they are doing to help the recovery world. And so you're going to see we invite everybody. And so you're going to see some Celebrate Recoveries. I think you guys are going to have a booth. Anyone that is playing a role. There are so many different ministries and resources out there, but we don't know what those are. And so it's an opportunity for people, which is why we say it's not just for the addict. It's not. It's for that church person. We can go in, we can encourage, we can love on these these different organizations that are trying to make a difference in the community. So you're going to come in, you're going to visit those booths, and then at 7 o'clock you're going to go into the sanctuary, and then you're going to get incredible worship. We Are Called is going to be leading our music, and if you haven't heard them, go look them up. It's We and the letter R, and then Called, and they're just a great group, and with great hearts. And so they'll be there, and then from there you're going to hear an incredible testimony. We take someone from who has come through our program or has been greatly impacted through Freeway Ministries. We have a video testimony, and then John will interview them and talk to them for a few minutes. And then from there, you're going to get a challenging word from John. And the altar calls are like nothing I've ever seen before in my whole life. Raised in church, never seen anything like it ever. And so that's pretty incredible to see as well. But basically, you're going to find a community of broken people. And you're not going to know who's sitting next to you. It might be a person who's been on the streets for 15 years and doesn't have a nickel to their name, or it might be a judge. It might be an attorney. It might be a police officer. It might be a nurse, a stay-at-home mom. It really is a way to connect with everyone in the community, bringing them together to serve one God.
Awesome.
It's
a great night.
Incredible.
John, there's testimonies that are shared. Can you, and it doesn't have to be one that's going to be shared with us at Freeway, give us a victory story. I know I try to randomly send you text to just be somewhat of an encourager. The victories, we don't only see those. We don't see the heartbreak that you go through. So we know these victories mean a lot to you because you've poured into them, you've connected with them, you've loved them. Share with us one.
Well, we have a guy named Josh Pruitt who is going to be sharing. He came from Springfield. He had 40 years over his head. He was deemed a prior persistent felon with 6 felonies over his head. He got saved in the program 2 months in. He was told to trust the Lord. We were going to go to court. He never showed up to court. You had to always catch him. And he said, it's hard to trust a God I just met. You know, it's kind of hard for me to do that. And we walked into the court, and the prosecutor prosecuted him. I mean, that's what they do. But the prosecution was a phenomenal job. And my argument to the judge was, the prosecution's right. That's who he used to be, but this is not the same man. And here's why. 2 years he's been out. 2 years he's been with us. 2 years he's held a job. 2 years he's not got any trouble. You know, and the judge said, I don't know why I'm going to do this, but I'm going to give you probation. And the judge has sent him to prison numerous times. Josh graduated our program, and we sent him up here to Orlando to open up the first men's house. And today, Josh is the facility manager of Orlando Christian Prep School. He is Mr. Josh, and these kids love him when they go. And it's a Christian prep school of 800 kids, and from 0 all the way to high school. And they have a big football team. And when they're going on the bus, Mr. Josh is there high-fiving all those kids. They absolutely love him here. He's found a home, and he is a walking testimony of the power of God. So
that's incredible.
Amazing story. And there's so many of these stories, and that's what Save Our City. Yeah, good preaching. And John, we know you're a fiery preacher, and the messages are amazing. They're great messages. God's gifted you. But the stories that changed lives is what this is all about. Save Our City is a 3-day revival next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Crossway Baptist Church this year is where you're going to find all of it going on. And we will have a booth there, encouragement there. We got prayer ministry and all kinds of things we want to share. And we can't wait to be a part of it. You guys, thank you for taking time this morning to join us and to let this be known. We're, a lot of times we do these, it's kind of Southern gospel related, but this right here is what it's all about. It's all about changing lives. And you guys are in the very front of that battle, and we commend you and thank you for what you're doing and for taking the time.
We love you guys. Thank you so much.
We'll see you next week. John, be safe, getting back and forth. Rachel, hold the fort.
I will. Thank you guys so much.
You're going to have to hit the exit button. I hate to kick people out.
You have to hit the button. There you go. Okay. Sorry. He still had us live on the air.
Oh.
I'm like, get us off the air. Play a song. I love one of the things I want to share before we let them go. I love how generational this is. And watching John's son grow up has been a huge privilege. He is a fine young man now. I don't live with him, so I can say that. He's a fine young man. I got accused of being his enabler. I was not, by the way. I made him mind, and that's why he still loves me today. But I want you to real quick share Miss Wanda's story, because she was one of your testimonies one year during the revival. Share her story real quick.
Well, I got a lot of Miss Wanda stories.
Share who Miss Wanda is, how she got involved, and what it's like working with her.
Well, Miss Wanda's a widower, and she used to be, at least. She lost her husband, and I'm a mom thief. And so I met her preaching at a church in Hermitage, Missouri. They put me and my wife at her house to rest between services. And that's how I got to know her. And I introduced her to another widower that I thought lost her husband with the same disease that Wanda did. And we just grew onto each other. We loved each other. I met her in Louisiana preaching in Crowville, Louisiana the first time. Then I met her in Hermitage. Well, then she sold her house and moved to Springfield, started serving at Freeway Ministries. And we cook a lot. We've got a restaurant kitchen in the building, and she's there cooking all the time. And she calls me her son. And I don't believe in women preachers, no offense. I'm Baptist. But if there was one, it'd be Miss Wanda. And she is close to God. She prays for me, encourages me. I love her. And funny story.
The epitome of the Southern woman. Very proper, very elegant, has her white hanky wherever she goes. Her hair is always perfect. She's beautiful. She's the epitome of the Southern church lady. Okay, so now that we've said that, go on.
Well, I'll tell you a story, and I'll try to be quick. I don't know how much time we got, but I had a guy take me alligator hunting in Louisiana, and he called me and wanted to go turkey hunting on my property. And I said, well, I don't have much turkeys. I know a guy that can take you bird hunting. And he said, okay. And I hooked him up with my buddy Mike A. out of loyalty, because he took me alligator hunting. And he said, I said, you're going to stay at Miss Wanda's. He said, can I bring my friend? And I said, well, let me ask her. And she said, ooh, is it Sonny Simpson? Is it Sonny Simpson? I'm like, what is wrong with you? And I asked him who it was. He said, Sonny Simpson. Well, Sonny Simpson was a widow too. He was a widower, and he lost his wife. But him and Miss Wanda grew up together. He'd been a pastor since he was 16. They're the same age. They're in his late 60s, I guess, something like that, maybe 70. And anyways, he came hunting, and him and her ended up getting engaged. And she come to my office with her daughter-in-law and had a wedding ring on. She said, I'm engaged. I thought, what in the world? And so her and Sonny eloped in my office, and I married him. It stirred things up a bit in the family, just the way it was done. She was like a 16-year-old kid. I mean, you wouldn't. She moved off to Louisiana, and then he retired, and now they moved back. And he disciples our men, and he serves at Freeway, and she serves at Freeway. Now we got a Miss Wanda and a Sonny. And so
what a great
cool story.
Before we let you go, I want you to do the Wanda impression one more time.
Hey, we should have led with that.
We should have led with that. Had we known.
Yeah.
Guys,
and Dave, I got to tell you, what's a day in the life like at Freeway? Hey, Rachel, I need you to come in my office for a minute. And I go in, and he says, I need you to witness this wedding ceremony.
Yeah.
So you're on. Do you have like a wedding outfit there at the office just in case for these kind of things?
I would never in a million years do that for anyone but Miss Wanda. I make people go through premarital. But
well,
she's marrying a pastor that's been pastoring before I was born.
Yeah.
You know,
like said, she walks with God. You knew.
I don't think her son's words to you were "Thank you, John."
Well, her son was very kind to me, but it was, I don't want to get into all that, but Miss Wanda could have done things a lot different than she did. She
That's
she
precious.
was like a 16-year-old giddy kid,
She's
and
precious.
she was operating out of the flesh. That's all I can tell you.
Hearing her stories of driving around some of the guys in the Freeway house are just great. Because, like I said, she is your proper, perfect church lady, and driving around these guys that are all, what did she call them, all tattered?
She called him Tattered John. Tattered. That's one of the guys.
They walk her down. Scott Bates came from Louisiana to our program. They didn't know each other, and he would walk her from the choir loft by the arm. When she come out of the choir loft, he'd wait for her at the door, and he'd walk her by the arm to her seat. And then when he graduated, now he's a pastor in Louisiana. He took a church there, but now he passed it down to the next guy. And then the next guy would walk her down from the Thai sales, did that for a long time. And they love her. She's loved.
I just love it because I think she's a perfect picture of the church community and the recovery community coming together, because it's hard, as you said, for church people to know how to respond and what to do to help the recovery community.
Yep.
But it's hard for people in recovery to trust church people. And she has been a perfect example of building that trust and that bridge. And that's one of the reasons I just love her stories, and love Freeway, because it's opened my eyes and put me out of my comfort zone once or twice, John Stroup.
Sure.
Well, let me ask you a question. If your mom's the one that you used meth with and partied with your whole life, and you get saved, who's going to be your mama?
Right.
If you never had a grandma, you never had a father, and two ex-drug addicts get married, meet at Freeway, get saved, want to get married, and both their parents are strung out, who's gonna be the grandparents? Who's gonna listen? I didn't even know what a baby shower was till I became a Christian. I never heard of it. Where I come from, we don't read books to kids. Never knew that. Never heard of a wedding shower, a baby shower, and so that's very important. That's why, we need the local church. Yeah.
Church.
So, love it. Thank you guys.
This has been great, and I'm praying it reaches a lot of people, and we bring a lot of people into the doors next week and into the ministry over the weeks and years to come. That's the whole point of this. God bless you.
Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Love you.
Love you too. Oh man, what a great ministry. Incredible.
Isn't that awesome?
Incredible.
I think we could have gone for 2 hours with them.
Oh, easy. Carried that, but
yeah. So many stories,
he's
and
got
just
things to do.
So much. And we both have
always
Freeway stories, being involved with Freeway and doing different things, and just love it.
Cannot say good enough things
No.
or enough things about what they're doing there. And so, that's an invite, by the way, to everybody watching. If you can be here, Greg, I'd cheer you on. Greg's got a story that touches on this. And so he knows the power of a ministry like this. And so very, very thankful for this to have the opportunity. By the way, can I just be real? Just thank you to everybody who supports this radio station, because you're there to help us. We can get the story out, like things that we just talked about. It's not just music. I think, let's see, what do we call them? More than music mission partners, right? Isn't that what we refer to our friends that help this? More, and this is the more. This is the more right there.
Yeah. This is what we get to do. And there's a lot of depth to RTN, to the network we're involved with. And we have the opportunity to support ministries like Freeway and be a part, I know personally, and through our organization. And it's a big deal.
We're blessed.
Big deal. We're very blessed.
We're blessed to have these kinds of conversations. And so, that's an invite to everybody watching in. If you could be in Springfield this coming week, it would be worth your while, be worth a long drive. And maybe if your church out yonder, someplace in the far flung, has been interested in getting recovery ministry started, I would suggest one of the things that would be good for you to do is maybe attend. It'd be worth hopping on a plane, getting in the car for that long drive, come up and be a part of this 3-day revival, Save Our City. That's
and we didn't even put anything on about how to get in touch with Freeway.
Shall we post that there? I see you're getting into your phone. Would you help our people out in the comments?
I am. Let's see.
And you'll see, you're hearing about it more on KWFC in the week to come. And I think we may have, I'm not sure social wise what we'll be doing, but we'll be talking about it a lot. There you go. Big deal. Big deal.
We missed that break.
That's time well spent. No, we had to.
Okay.
We had the chores to get done there.
Guys, thank you so much for a wonderful morning. It's been amazing. I've loved having John and Rachel with us.
Precious people.
Love
I've
getting
known Rachel
to
most of her life. Not all of it, but most of it.
She has great
precious
stories
people.
about you too. I'll have to share some sometime.
Bless
Her
heart.
mother's the one who has
Bless her.
great Dave Taylor stories.
Yes, and they are very kind people. Trust me when I tell you.
Yeah, I
don't know what
posted
all
the
they've shared.
website there, freeway-ministries.org, Crossway Baptist Church, Thursday through Saturday.
Next week.
Doors open at 6. And I'm telling you, when you come, hang out in the hallways.
Yeah.
Last year, I heard some great stories. I'm standing there, and there's this maybe it was 2 years ago, a man doing a booth, and this guy walks up and calls him by name, and he goes, "Yeah," and he goes, "Man, I thought you were dead."
Oh.
He goes, "What?" And he said, I was a paramedic, and you got shot, and
Oh.
I took you to the hospital, and I was just sure that
You weren't gonna make it.
you weren't there
Wow.
anymore. So
Wow.
yeah, it was
That's strong.
it was an amazing testimony. I mean, there's so much, so many stories.
Before we pray out of here, let's remind you, next Friday morning, a big party going to be happening here in the KWFC studios. None other than the one and only Tate Emmons will be our guest.
Yeah.
On a Christmas party CD reveal. We're gonna Paul's determined to get it all Christmassy in here, so we'll make it befitting to the fun of the occasion. So next Friday, special guest Tate Emmons and his new CD coming right here. You'll hear the music first right here on our Friday Live. So don't miss that.
Be a good time.
Let's pray out of here.
Pray us out of here.
My turn. Father, we love you and we thank you for your grace and how there really is no pit too deep. You cannot rescue us. You cannot save us. And some of the stories that John and Rachel and all that are working in Freeway Ministries, just the things, the deep holes people can dig for themselves, for ourselves, that you are still ready and willing to save. Help us to share this hope that we have in you readily. Be with the revival for everybody involved, John, in preparation for the messages that he'll be bringing, the testimonies, and the spirit and worship. That God, these will be 3 amazing days of impact that will take things even a step farther. As amazed as we are as how far this ministry has come in just 13 short years, God, I do believe the biggest impact, the best of it, is still to come. And I pray that this next week will be an amazing explosion of revival, not just in that one church building, but in our city, and that will ripple across this world because you are great. And God, there's nothing too big for you and no sin too deep that you cannot forgive. And we say thank you and praise you for that in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, you guys. We commend you to a great holiday weekend. Normally, we're kind of like, fun and festive, fun holiday stuff, but this was timely. We had to get this word out about this revival. And for those of you that are used to some different kind of a throw here, well, this is what it's really all about. That's what it's all about, what we just did. And so, yeah, usually it's fun. Sometimes
it was fun.
No, there were fun moments, but the thrust of it was
it's
really
pretty serious.
It was
It's
business
heavy stuff.
Well, I mean, when you think of the things we just talked about a guy who was in John's office that got unhandcuffed in his office because he just shot somebody. That's pretty strong and real things right there. All right, we love y'all. Have a wonderful weekend. Be safe when you're traveling. A lot of people on the road, so please be safe. And Lord willing, we will see you
Thursday night at Crossway.
Friday morning here next week with Tate. God bless you.